Ha! I'm not Dad, but it's close enough.
I have a special guest this evening because Scott is away. So for those of you over there on YouTube, bear with us. I'm trying to fix things a little bit and it's messing me up, but whatever. Not a big deal. Talking cruises, and what better thing about cruises than sunsets? And so that is why we chose our backdrop of the evening, even if it isn't quite long enough for our YouTube. But
Hi, Kim.
Hi, Kim. Like I was saying before, Scott is not with us. He will not be with us over on YouTube, but you should be seeing him shortly on our Facebook as soon as he pops on here and I can invite him in. He may have to comment if you are in here, Scott. Go ahead and comment on that. That way, hopefully that icon will pop up for me to be able to put you in here. So,
Dad, I know technology is hard, but it's not that hard.
I can't say anything. I've been wanting to do something different with this for months. So,
Reno coming. Okay, Grandma's there. So,
all right. So he's there. Bear with us for a second. It may not let us. Bear with us for a minute as we're working with some IT things.
Nope, that's focusing on my face. Don't want that.
So hang on. Bear with us another second.
Yeah, Dad, it's not popping up.
And
hey, Dad, there should be something
where you can ask to be invited.
Yeah.
There we go. Like I said, bear with us because we are having some technical difficulties this evening.
He posted.
I know he posted. Hang on. I'm going to back this up just a little bit.
Let me see if I can.
So, but like I said before, this is just all whopper-jawed, and I'm just going to stop messing with it because I feel like I'm making it worse. So while Christopher is working on things, I'm going to close that out because I can't see. Hi, Mike. Thank you for joining us on Facebook. Or on YouTube. I really appreciate it. Let me see. There we go. Good enough.
Stop messing with it.
I can't help it. It's messing with me, and I don't like it. So, see, this is what you guys don't generally see. There we go. I think that's a little bit better. I don't feel like I am at the bottom of my screen trying to reach so I can see. So anyway, hi YouTube. Hi Deb. Thanks for joining us on YouTube. So while Christopher is working on that, let me go ahead and talk to you guys. So we are going to be discussing fall foliage cruises that you can do because all of us are getting our kids ready for school. Back to school's right around the corner. JT moves into his dorm next week. Nick will be starting our homeschooling stuff with him officially at the 1st of September.
Just trying to.
And Chris is trying to figure it out, so bear with us for a second. But anyway, so with all that going on, that automatically makes me think, oh my gosh, all this work. I need a vacation. And fall break, for those of you that have fall break, is a perfect time. Malachi said, hi, Ollie. Aw. So that's really cute. Thanks for posting that, Dish. So while we are...
Come say hi real fast.
Yes, you can come say hi. Can you tell everybody hi?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
That's it. Keep going, Megan.
So we are going to be discussing different fall foliage and things like that. But since I have the little guy here, first off, somebody lost a tooth. He's getting way too big. And because he lost a tooth, we decided to go to Playthings, etc., which is a really cool toy store that happens to be up in Butler, Pennsylvania, about an hour from our house. And then we went to Mars. And so if you guys haven't done so already, make sure that you hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel and that bell notification button because you are not going to want to miss him going shopping with his whopping $5 that he got from the Tooth Fairy and thinking that it was $500. Because let's just say that we had to make some compromises off camera, but it's a lot of fun. You'll definitely want to see what he ended up picking out.
Did you end up going to Mars Park?
Or
the Moon Park. Sorry, it was Moon Park, but I don't know if there was the Mars Park or not. You guys went to?
We went to the Adams Township Community Park.
Oh, okay.
So, which was a lot of fun. So, all right. Are you ready to go watch Super Mario? You want to go watch Mario?
Mario.
All right. Tell everybody bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, all right. First things first. Can't figure out what's going on, so I apologize. Scott will not be joining us on our live, but hopefully he will continue to comment for me to keep me on track, because Christopher just has no idea how much of a train wreck I am going to be this evening.
It's gonna be great. It's great. Too cute. Oh, thanks, Dad.
You should have seen the debacle to get this put up. I mean, we both just laughed hysterically at each other for 5 minutes.
I almost fell off the chair. Yeah, the chair slid about 1.5 feet, and I almost fell straight on my back. So yeah, that's cool.
And before that, he started laughing hysterically because I was brushing my teeth. Like, I have no idea why that was funny, but he went to ask me a question, and I'm like.
It was because I thought she was using the bathroom and the door was closed, and all of a sudden I was sitting there and I was like, hey, where are the clips? And next thing you know, the door busts wide open and she's sitting there brushing her teeth. So, yeah.
So that's the kind of train wreck that we're going to have this evening. So we're going to focus on Royal Caribbean Cruises, because those are my favorite cruise line to endorse, and they have some really great itineraries. And the very first one I'm going to talk about is one that is going out on the 28th of September. It's Vision of the Seas from Baltimore, Maryland. So if you're a Pittsburgh native or you live in this area, really easy to be able to drive to. You don't have to fly to that destination, which makes it really nice. And it's a 9-night cruise, like I said, on Vision of the Seas. And the only caveat I have to this particular one, if this is something that you hear that you're like, oh my God, that sounds amazing, might have to put you on the 2024 cruise, because 2023 is completely sold out except for their suites. So, and that is for every sailing for Canada and New England out of Baltimore. So this is probably the most popular Royal Caribbean cruise that you can get. But that being said, obviously you're going to go out of Baltimore. Now, what are some things that you can do in Baltimore? Chris, I know that we've driven through Baltimore with you a lot on our way to Chickateague, but there's some other things that you can do. For instance, there's the Maryland Science Center, and there's the National Aquarium that are right there in the Inner Arbor. So really close to where your cruise ship is going to be. You can stay a night or two beforehand. Go check out that aquarium. It's absolutely amazing. You can also ride a pirate ship with the company Urban Pirates. And so you can go kind of out in the bay a little bit. Chris, go get the box on the cabinet. The box we talked to Grandma and Grandpa with. Why?
Oh, because he wants to video chat through that so we can hold him here so he can be a part of it.
It's thinking, oh gosh. And then it just shut off. Anyway.
That's going to be a lot.
Let's just not even worry about it, Scott. Let me just keep going. Another thing that you can do, and part of why I have him on here with me this evening, is you can go watch a game at Camden Yard, provided the Orioles are still playing by fall.
Well, yeah. So they play. So baseball season.
I didn't know.
So baseball season usually lasts until about beginning of October. The Orioles most recently are actually doing really good. So they're probably going to have a pretty big playoff push. So they'll probably play clear into the end of October.
So it would be playoffs. That would be nice.
Yep.
Those are fun games.
So I've only ever been to one playoff game. I was at a playoff game here in Pittsburgh. It was the last one that we had, the most recent one that we had in 2015 against the Reds. But I will say, though, Camden Yards, I've been around the stadium. I haven't been inside yet. Camden Yards is gorgeous.
It's supposed to be one of the best in the country, isn't it?
So they always say it's the best stadium, like it's the prettiest stadium. Nothing can beat PNC Park. Nothing can beat PNC Park.
Not that city view.
But I'm telling you, Camden Yards is definitely a really gorgeous. They have some of the best food. They actually have lobster cakes and crab cakes over there.
Okay, that'll get me to a baseball game.
So they have fresh crab cakes that they make every day, like at the game. They do.
I mean, you're in Baltimore. You have to have crab cake.
They'll do lobster or crab boils. I don't know why I keep saying lobster. I'm thinking of Maine.
We're going to be going up there. So,
but they do crab a lot at the stadium.
Okay.
And beers are actually cheaper. So if you like to drink alcohol,
Interesting.
beers are cheaper there. Yep.
Interesting. I had no idea on that
Just
one.
a couple bucks cheaper. They're still like $13.
So Scott and Dad are working on this end. That's good to hear. Thanks, Deb, for the update, or Mike for the update. So another thing you can do if you're wanting to stick with history is check out the Fort McHenry, which is in Baltimore, just outside of Baltimore. This is the fort that actually repelled the British in the War of 1812, and it is the inspiration that Francis Scott Key used in order to write the Star-Spangled Banner.
Oh,
So,
really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So that's a fun fact. Obviously, a lot of these places we're going to be talking about are in the New England area, and there's a lot of history involved with that. So especially our colonial and other types of history and stuff that we have between the British and the French and everything. So I thought that was really cool.
That's the one thing that I hated, like through high school, is like I hated doing American history in school.
Now we love it.
Oh, now it's great because when I get to actually go like experience it, like we did Gettysburg 2016, so my junior
2014,
year.
something like that. Yeah.
So it's somewhere in my high school.
We went for the ghosts.
Yeah, like I learned about Gettysburg in middle school, but I didn't actually know about Gettysburg. Like I didn't understand it until I was actually there, and it was actually really cool to like see the different landmarks and stuff. That was just kind of an example. Like I knew about this because of the War of 1812, because that was one of our big projects.
Right.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So definitely check that out so that you can add in some history, especially if you're pulling kids out of school, like I used to do with him a lot. We went to a lot of historical places and got to teach them hands-on history or hands-on science because that was just what we did. And then the last thing I want to talk about with Baltimore is you can actually go to the Baltimore Streetcar Museum, which I think is really cool. Or you can go to the B&O Railroad Museum, which, as you guys have kind of realized over the past few weeks, we've been on a big railroad kick. Nick is absolutely obsessed with trains right now. Gettysburg is great for history. Yes, it is. And if you're driving from the Pittsburgh area, you could actually even stop over at Gettysburg for a day or two and then go on into Baltimore to the port. Some of these other locations, not going to be quite that simple. But
actually, real fast on that. So I did learn something the other day. Yeah, it's weird. I actually learned something. So we have a highway that actually goes across PA that runs with a turnpike. Mm-hmm. It's the Lincoln Highway. So it's actually named, obviously, after Lincoln, but it's right. There's a point where he signed the agreement to stop the wars and free the slaves.
Yeah,
it was really cool. I was looking at it. I was doing some research on it, and I was like, oh. Makes sense because I've been clear to the north part of it and I've been clear over. So,
did you know that the Lincoln Highway Museum actually is just outside of Latrobe?
No, really?
Yeah, that's one of the locations I've been wanting to do a video on, and we haven't made our way out there yet.
Oh, looks like we're going pretty soon.
Yeah. So definitely very interesting and very cool history. We're very fortunate with where we are, being able to see all of this really cool stuff from our history. Let me see here. Let me get back to this cruise now that we've kind of talked about Baltimore. And Christopher, you're going to have to help keep me on time because I can't see my clock from over there.
8:14.
Route 30. Thank you, Scott.
There we go.
So obviously the one that I chose because all of them are booked up. I chose September 28th. So September 28th, you're going to board your cruise ship, Vision of the Seas. On the 29th, you're going to have a day at sea, so you're going to be able to check out all of the different activities and stuff that you can do on the ship. You can spend some time at the pool and spend some time in your room, watching some shows, all kinds of different stuff that you can do. On the 30th, you're actually going to stop at Boston, and we're going to circle around to Boston because Boston is one of the ports of departure that we want to talk about. Then on October 1st, you're going to go to Portland, Maine. And this is a place I have never been. I've never been to Maine.
I have.
Well, I have a certain somebody here who is going to tell us a little bit about Maine.
Do you really want me to? I don't remember most of that. No, I'm kidding.
Well, you were with your ex-wife, so I can forgive you if you forgot some of it.
Yeah. So So we went up last year for a wedding.
Okay.
My buddy Zach and his wife Abby got married.
He says he's calling you.
He's not.
Okay, interesting.
So
anyway, keep going.
So yeah, Zach and Abby got married last year, right?
Yeah, I think it was last year.
2020? Yeah. So we had our bachelor party at. Hang on, we had our bachelor party at down at the port.
Oh, okay.
And with our bachelor party down at the port, Sorry, guys. Dad just chimed in, so. Thank you. Hang on, we're having technical difficulties. He's trying to learn how to turn his sound down. We'll get him in here in just a second. He can sit right there. You can hear him laughing now. Anyway, so there was so we did a bar crawl, and every road that's in Portland, Maine that I was on was all brick roads.
I was gonna say it's all brick and cobblestone.
It's all brick and cobblestone, which is pretty
beautiful, but terrible when you're going for a bachelor party.
Oh, it was awful. So we started at 3 different bars. We started at a couple different bars and kind of like bar hopped our way down the street and then back up the street and finished at the same bar that we started at. There was one bar called Foreplay. It's pretty funny. It's a sports bar. We didn't realize that until we got in there. We all laughed at the name, but it was a really nice bar. It was really cool. It's
very cool.
But yeah, so it's literally right there on the water. You can literally hear the seagulls all the time. Smells like the sea, smells like the ocean. It's gorgeous. There's nothing but sailboats out there all the time.
Did you get to see the sea lions and the seals?
So we went in the summertime. So
they're not going to be there. Never mind. But in the fall, they would be.
Yeah. So we went in May of last year.
Mm-hmm.
So it was actually the weather was perfect. If you guys want to go to Maine, I love it. Maine's so pretty.
Yeah.
I wanted to see a moose. I didn't get to see a moose, so it's kind of sad. But
did you eat a lobster roll? Because that's what Maine is famous for.
Yeah. So we had famous I can't with him. Dad's over here making faces at us. So
just to give you guys a heads up, somebody was very upset he wasn't a part of our live this evening. So here he is, since we were having technical difficulties bringing him onto Facebook.
Vicky says she loves Maine. Yeah, I do.
God
too.
help us with the fact that he's over here and being the little minion on the side.
I'll turn him up here in a second, so that way he can talk if he wants to talk, which he probably does because he's dad and he likes to talk.
So
yeah, he's giving me a thumbs up. So, but yeah, so I got to try the lobster rolls. The lobster rolls. Wow.
That is not Pittsburghese. Wow. That is just exhaustion talking.
Yeah. No, so the lobster rolls are really good. Lobster up there is just, I don't know what it is. It's just 1,000 times better. Maybe it's just the nostalgia of being in Maine.
Well, it's because it's so fresh. I mean, a lot of it, they catch it that morning and then you're eating it that afternoon or evening. So definitely I would, if I didn't have to deal with the winters, I would live in Maine all the time because I am a seafood fanatic and I would love it.
I would like the summers.
I don't want to deal with the winters.
The summers were great. The summers were high 75, maybe 80 while we were there.
Right.
I just loved it. It was awesome.
So some things that you can do while you're in Portland is you can actually go and you can do a lighthouse tour. If that's something that you wanted to do, you can do like what he was talking, doing bar crawl similar to Key West. You can do a bar crawl.
I'm going to leave him just like that.
This is going to be a rough night, y'all.
Yes, it really is.
You can also go out into nature because most of the state of Maine is national park.
I'm just going to hold him here because literally what he's doing, I can't not let these people see this.
Yeah.
If people want to know where I get my stupidity from.
It's like the devil on the shoulder now,
Just right there.
Yeah. Whispering in my ear to do naughty things.
Whoa, hey.
Not that way. Calm down.
He thought the same way too.
Men. Anyway.
Bad here too. I think she's talking about winners.
Winners
are probably not as bad.
No. But anyway, once you're done with Portland for this particular cruise itinerary, because at this rate, I'm probably only going to get through one, you're going to go up on October 2nd to St. John and New Brunswick. Now, this is where Bay of Fundy is. For those of you that don't know, this is one of the most dramatic tide changes that you can find in the world. So it's by... 12 feet, something like that, some ridiculous number. You can go out at one point and the entire Bay of Fundy is nothing but mud because all the water is gone. Then you come back and it's literally like where you were standing earlier. It is way above your head because the tide has come in so much. So definitely a really cool and interesting phenomenon to be able to check out. And then on October 3rd, you get to go to Halifax, Nova Scotia. Now, Christopher, is that where Sidney Crosby is from, or is it Halifax?
He's from
Sydney.
He's from Nova Scotia, yeah.
I know, but I can't remember which city. I think
it's Halifax. Let me fact check while Dad's in the corner.
So, and the reason why I bring this up is because I am not a huge sports fan of any kind of sport, but obviously we're at Pittsburgh and people are all about their hockey. And so Sidney Crosby is actually from Nova Scotia.
He's from Cole Harbour.
Oh, Cole Harbour? Okay. And so somebody, when I was talking about this last week during posts and stuff, I was talking about it. And they're like, oh, you've got to go and see Sidney Crosby's house that he grew up in. And I was like, I had no idea that was even a thing. So that
was 25 minutes from Halifax.
Okay. So it was Halifax. Okay. But yeah, that is something that you can do for all of us Pittsburgh people that would be obsessed with that. And then on October 4th, you can go to Sydney, Nova Scotia. What, is he just going to be your mouth and your voice of reason?
Mm-hmm.
That's a terrible idea. So.
Oh, I'm supposed to speak while he's doing that.
Uh-huh. So Sydney, Nova Scotia, that is another really cool place to be able to check out. And
Gary
then
says Cole Center. Yeah, Nova Scotia.
Thank you, Liz. He's the one that commented. So I couldn't remember who had commented because it had been a week and my brain is fried. So after that, after spending some time in Sydney on October 4th, you are actually going to take 2 days of cruising back down. So all those things that you didn't get to do on your cruise ship on the 29th, you're going to have the opportunity to do on those next 2 days. And then on the 7th, you're going to disembark back in Baltimore, Maryland, and start making your way home or spending another couple of days in Baltimore before you make your way home and just have a really nice rounded out vacation. Now, the reason why these are so limited is because they really try to hit these during peak fall foliage for New England and up into Canada, which obviously they have fall with fall colors a lot earlier than what the rest of the country does, or like as you go down. So if you'll notice, like for instance, first week of October is probably when we're starting to get just a little bit of orange and red here in Pittsburgh, generally speaking, unless we have a cold snap come through. First week of October, Vermont, Maine, areas like that, they're in like full bloom. So definitely, or even towards the end of it already, depending on how the season is going.
Yeah. When I was in New Jersey back in 21, we got there in November or September. We got there in September and everything was very pretty colors like this. So Dad, stop refreshing, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot you could hear me.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the next place that we want to talk about, and I was super excited to find this cruise, and I think it would be really cool. You can drive to it from this area, Pittsburgh area, if you would want to, but I would really recommend going ahead and taking a flight because JetBlue has a really nice nonstop flight from Pittsburgh to Boston Logan International Airport. And so let's talk about Boston for a few minutes. Christopher, I know that you are dying to talk about Fenway Park.
Yep. Fenway Park's one of my favorite stadiums. Like literally ever. Dad, I'm putting you down. I'm tired of holding you. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Don't worry about it.
So Fenway Park's one of my favorite stadiums. For anybody who's not really big into baseball, they have the thing called the Green Monster. It's the largest wall. It is the left field wall. It stands 37 and a half feet. There are right-handed batters are the ones that usually only ever hit home runs over top of it. I've always wanted to see a game at Fenway facing the wall, but I've also wanted to sit on top of the wall because it's the wall.
Cool and terrifying.
But not only that, that's also the now the oldest stadium in Major League Baseball due to renovations and stuff to Wrigley Field. Wrigley Field was the longest running for the longest time. Wrigley Field most recently did. Someone is talking.
Somebody is talking in his bedroom. For those of you that don't know, Scott is currently staying with his parents. So if you see some really weird comments come through, it's because the three of them are in a house together and it's chaos.
And I'm surprised that they're not cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs right now. But
they definitely are.
But no, so
back to Fenway.
So Fenway, I'm sorry that you guys have to hear him. I might just turn him off. But so no, if you guys have ever seen the movie Ted,
okay.
So Ted at the end, the ending scene, one of the ending scenes they go through Fenway Park, and they actually get to show you like how to get up. The scoreboard at Fenway Park is actually operated by human instead of.
Oh, is it still? It's not digital.
It's
That's
not digital.
Cool.
Yep, it's they changed the score by scorecards still.
That's really cool.
Yep.
So, I just think it would be cool. Isn't that the park that Babe Ruth became really famous at? Was Fenway Park?
Yeah. So Babe Ruth originally started with the Red Sox and was traded in a 4-player trade to the Yankees, which I'm partial Yankees fan, partial Pirates fan, so I kind of root for both. But Babe Ruth was traded to the Yankees for nobody. There's the players' names.
Nobody really knows.
Nobody really knows. There's no big names that ever came from it. So Babe Ruth was the biggest name and that's what
came out of Boston.
So that's what started the big Boston New York Yankees rivalry. Was that trade is what really started it.
Interesting.
And then the rivalry, kind of stayed mellowed out through the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Picked back up in the 90s and early 2000s.
Very cool.
Has been rolling since then.
All right. Scott, would you please stop putting up ha-has on my Facebook feed? So.
You can make faces all you want. You're not here.
So some other things that you can do if you are not a baseball fan, you can go to the New England Aquarium, which is very cool. There's also a place called High Street Place. And this is a really neat, like kind of a mix between street vendor and food court. Heaven, like it's just a really cool space that you can go into, have some actually really high-end food and things that maybe you wouldn't normally try. So that's definitely a place that's on my list when we go. There's also the Arnold Arboretum at Harvard. So if you're into trees and nature, basically, I would want to go to Harvard just to say that I got to step into Harvard.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking too.
But like, obviously, I'm never going to be a student at Harvard. But cannot afford those prices. There is also Freedom Trail. This is something I feel like anybody that goes to Boston should at least do a part of it because you can actually start at the oldest public park in the country, which is the Boston Common. And if you go up to the north side, you can check out the home of Paul Revere, the Paul Revere House. You can go to Old North Church. And also in that area is Boston's Little Italy. So sign me up for that. And I was going to say cheers. The other thing that you can do is you can actually visit Cheers, which is actually not called Cheers. It's called the Bullfinch Pub. And it is what the screenwriters drew inspiration from for the TV series Cheers, and they have it completely set up. It's like a replica of everything that you can do from the TV series. And Liz, I'm really glad that you brought that up because I completely forgot about that. The biggest reason why I want to go to Boston is because I want to drive the 45 minutes south east. And go to Salem. And I have wanted to do this for years. Go check out Salem, where the Salem witch trials are from. They have a very, very huge culture. Halloween is absolutely off the charts every year for it. And it's pretty much like a 2-month celebration. They've got festivals and things that happen. They close off certain parts of the town so that they can have street vendors and things. And I cannot wait to do that someday.
Yeah, Liz, if you've ever read the storyline, The Crucible, or seen the movies, it's based off of the Salem witch trials.
Well, she was a school teacher, so I
okay, so she guaranteed. So
sorry, Liz, he doesn't realize I know who you are.
So if you want a great laugh, I'll send the link to Megan here later on, and she can send it to you. My sophomore or junior year of high school, we had to do a project, and we had to reenact The Crucible, and it's on YouTube.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's on YouTube, and we have like a 15-minute skit where it's literally just bloopers. I think me and Sarah took 30 tries just to get off the water. But Joey and Tommy and Thomas, I can't tell you how many times we all just laughed just filming.
Yeah.
There was 30 of us down there at one point, is what it seemed like.
So we've had an amazing.
I forgot about that.
We've had an amazing time over there in Boston, and now it's time to board our cruise ship. Now this one is the only one. No, I take that back. It was the other one. Forget that. So the one that I chose, this is the only one I have that has full availability. If you're wanting an interior room, ocean view room, balcony room, or a deluxe suite room, they have full availability on the October 22nd sailing. So that is really exciting. So on October 22nd, you're actually going to board the Serenade of the Seas for a 7-night cruise. On the 23rd, you're going to have a full day of cruising. And then on the 24th, you're going to go to Sydney, Nova Scotia. So they're kind of changing things up a little bit on us. On the 25th, you're going to go to Halifax, which if you remember, we said go check out Sidney Crosby's house. On the 26th, you're going to have a day of cruising. And then on the 27th, you're going to get to go to Bar Arbor, Maine. So you're actually going to have 2 ports that you're going to visit in Maine this time around. On the 28th, you're going to go to Portland. And then on the 29th, you're going to disembark back in Boston. So for those of you that have only a week of vacation at a time, this might be a better fit for you than the 9 or 11-night cruise itineraries that I pulled out. But definitely going to be able to see some amazing fall foliage and be able to experience some really cool things.
Also with Boston, she missed the Boston Tea Party.
I did miss the Boston Tea Party. See, he messed me up.
Yeah, it's whatever. You ignore him.
Because I also was going to talk about the Barking Crab restaurant, because that's the last of the old seaport. And I want to eat someplace that is called a Barking Crab, because we learned crabs do bark at you.
Yes, they do. And also, blue crabs pinch. Blue crabs really do pinch.
Oh, they don't let go. They're worse than a bulldog.
No, they do not.
So
Dad has firsthand experience with blue crabs. It's his favorite animal in the ocean.
And that's why we have like half a dozen blue crab Christmas ornaments that we put on our tree every year.
Yeah.
And a blue crab right over your shoulder.
Yeah, literally right over.
Yep, we do. And another one over there. So
somewhere.
Anyway, so that is a really fun itinerary that you can do on Serenade of the Seas. Serenade is actually one of the prettiest ships, in my personal opinion, that Royal Caribbean offers as far as like the class and everything goes. So highly recommend that one. Now the third one, sorry, Chris,
34,
that I'm going to talk about is going to be the Jewel of the Seas that is departing out of Cape Liberty, New Jersey. This is going to be an 11-night cruise starting on September 28th. And there's a ton of things that you can do if you choose to go out of this cruise port without ever stepping into Manhattan. We're going to talk about Manhattan a little bit too, because let's face it, so many fun things you can do there. So in Cape Liberty, so just to kind of give you guys a perspective, it is south of Jersey City, it's south of Manhattan, and it's south of the Statue of Liberty. Okay, so you can look north and you can see the Statue of Liberty, and you're going to see Manhattan off to the side a little bit farther. Gary says Fall River, Massachusetts, and stay at the Lizzie Borden House. Yeah, that sounds like fun. Yes, I'm going to add that to my list because you are completely right, Gary.
Hi, Gary.
So, you remember Gary?
Mm.
Okay. Now let's see. One of the things that you can do, which I thought was really interesting, I didn't realize it was there, is you can go to the Teardrop Memorial. This is also known as to the struggle against world terrorism, and it was gifted to us by Russia after the 9/11 attack in memoriam of the people who lost their lives during 9/11. I had no idea that that was there, and I had no idea that it was gifted to us by the Russians. So I think that would be a really cool thing to go and check out. You can also head north up to the Hudson River waterfront, where you can get some fantastic Manhattan views. There's also a lighthouse that you can tour and kind of check out a little bit, which is interesting because you're actually not on the sea. You're just on the Hudson River. And then there's also another 9/11 memorial, which is facing where the Twin Towers once stood. So you're going to find a lot of things that's encompasses the 9/11 history.
There's a famous photo that was taken of the towers. It was taken from that exact spot of where that memorial is.
Mm-hmm.
The photo is actually sitting there. Not the official photo, but like a photocopy of it is sitting there on the memorial.
Yeah, it's really cool. And say, for instance, you did not realize that it's going to be a little bit chillier than what you originally thought. You can go over to the Mills at Jersey Gardens. It is an outlet mall, and you can get your shopping on before or after your cruise.
Hopefully it's better than our Mills.
It had better be.
I hope it's better.
And then, of course, I had to add this one in for you. Right there in Jersey. Cape Liberty is a RPM raceway where you can race go-karts.
Yeah, I love racing go-karts.
We get very competitive with go-karts. So
just go-karts, we get competitive with everything. Literally,
you're not wrong.
Literally everything.
So now, if you did want to go over into Manhattan, oh boy, there's a whole bunch of things that we can talk about. For instance, you definitely got to check out the Statue of Liberty. You also need to make sure that you go to the top of the rock. We always recommend people do it at sunset. That is the prettiest time in order to do it, and you're not going to regret that.
I've done it 3 times.
Yeah.
Not once do I regret it.
Yep. Just had people up there last month. Said it was absolutely fantastic.
It's so pretty.
Take a Broadway show. There are tons of fantastic shows. We can get you tickets beforehand or get you last minute, depending on which ones they are. Obviously, some of them, like Sweeney Todd, you're not going to get.
I've been to one, so I can talk all about it. You know, if you guys have questions about Broadway plays or anything like that.
Which is the one that you went to? Because
Wicked.
you went with your cruise.
Yeah.
Not your cruise,
the
your choir.
Yeah, I went and saw Wicked, which was great because we actually performed Wicked for the musical the year before or the year after, one of the two. But it was really cool to get to see the professionals do it. And I just
didn't you see it again here in Pittsburgh?
I was gonna see it, and then they had a cancellation the night we were supposed to see it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely highly recommend going to a Broadway show. Also recommend making sure that you go to a classic deli, because let me tell you, you're going to have some amazing food if you do that. And then slice of pizza.
Yeah.
You remember when we went and we were so hungry and we stopped at this place that looked like it was like a 7-Eleven gas station without the gas pumps. And that was one of the best pizzas we've ever had.
Yeah, I loved watching Wicked. It's so cool to be able to walk in and everything's green. You know, The Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz is one of my favorite movies of all time, and you know, I don't think anything's gonna beat it. So being able to see the side of the witches was really cool. Mm-hmm. But she did say something about food, and I did want to bring it up. Junior's Restaurant on 27th Street. It's a little more on the pricier side because it's in Manhattan.
Right.
Amazing steaks, amazing burgers. They have cheesecakes that they make fresh. You can actually order cheesecakes off of Junior's website. So we could, have it set like the Friends episode where it gets sent to the neighbor, but we end up eating it. But that's just us. So, but no, so they make it fresh there every day. You can actually order cheesecake like the Cheesecake Factory.
Very cool.
Which is just 1,000 times better than the Cheesecake Factory, in my opinion. They also do cheesecake milkshakes there.
Ooh.
See, Liz knows Juniors. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, Juniors is just, it is amazing. One of the girls that I used to work with, that I was deployed with up there, was her uncle runs that restaurant. So we actually didn't have to wait for a reservation. We literally got to go right in. So it's really cool. But it's really tight.
It's amazing when you know who people, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's really tight. Also, the Disney store, it's awesome. Go check it out.
Yeah.
We walked.
I'm not sure if that's still there. Is it?
It's still there. Yeah.
So they closed a majority of them, which is why I was curious. Yeah, Bruce is mad about something.
So is Leo.
Well, Leo's always mad. He's a little touched in the head.
In there.
So, so anyway, let me see. Something else that you can do food-wise is check out Gray's Papaya, which is a fantastic, highly recommended hot dog stand.
Yep.
So that is one thing to do.
Leo.
Another thing is, what else did we do while we were there last?
Beats me.
We did a lot.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, definitely Manhattan is the place to go. The History Museum.
Yeah.
Definitely want to do that. Mary says, I want my dogs. Ellen Stardust Diner.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. You got to do that once.
Mm-hmm.
So
I did it right before I got to see an opera, because I got to go to the Opera House, which we were very underdressed for. We still like dressed up. Like I still had a tie and suit, and like kind of like a suit, business casual type, but we were still very, very underdressed. We had people that were walking around with masks covering their faces, like we felt like we were at a gala, and it was just a lot.
Very cool. So plenty of things that you can do in Manhattan and in Cape Liberty. So let me get back to this cruise. Excuse me. Now, I do want to say this is an 11-night cruise. Now, this one is the only one where you have to have a passport before you can board, because you're actually going to end your cruise in Quebec City and fly home from Quebec.
Interesting.
So, like I said, it's 11 nights. You're going to board in Cape Liberty. Then, Leo, can you please stop? He's literally laying flat on his side on the couch with his head buried in the edge of the couch and is barking because he's that lazy. He has no interest in seeing what it is that he's barking at, but he's just going to bark at it.
He doesn't care.
Anyway, back to the cruise. So this is going to be on Jewel of the Seas. You're going to board on September 28th. On the 29th, you're going to have an entire day at sea, so you get to check out everything that's on the ship, get yourself acclimated to it. On the 30th of September, you're going to actually stop at Halifax, and we're not going to get back into that.
Sidney Crosby.
And then on October 1st, you're going to go to Sydney, Nova Scotia, not to be confused with the hometown of Sidney Crosby. And then on October 2nd, you're going to go to Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. So this is a really fun, unique place that you get to go. Not a lot of cruise ships actually do this one because they're trying to get people up, seeing like the Bay of Fundy, things like that, Nova Scotia, and then they're running back. So you don't generally get to do Prince Edward Island very often. On October 3rd, you're going to have another day of cruising. And then on October 4th, I just realized I forgot to put a D on the end of that, and my OCD is going to make me do that. You're going to go to Corner Brook, Newfoundland. I think that is so cool. I've always wanted to go to Newfoundland, and I'm going to tell you why, and you guys are all going to laugh at me. My mom actually used to raise and breed Newfoundland dogs, and my sister is still obsessed with them. She has one now named Dio, and she's always had one as long as I can remember. and absolutely love the breed. And I would love to be able to see the country that they were named after, and maybe even seeing a Newfoundland working, like doing what it's supposed to with rescue. So I've always wanted to go up and do that. On October 5th, we're going to take another day of cruising. Like I said, it's 11 nights, so we've got some time to do different things. And then on September 6th, we're going to stop at Sept Isles in Quebec.
Leo, stop.
And then on the 7th, we're actually going to stop at Quebec Saguenay. I apologize if I am saying that wrong. I know that that kind of French, and I do not speak French at all. And then on the 8th is when you're going to stop at Quebec City. Now, the interesting thing about this is you're going to stop at Quebec City on the 8th. You're going to have an entire day to explore the port, and then you're going to sleep on the cruise ship. And then on the 9th, you're going to leave the cruise ship and disembark.
That's interesting.
Isn't that interesting? You're doing an overnight in Quebec City.
On the cruise ship.
And then departing. So I think that is a really interesting itinerary. Like I said before, you have to have your passport in order to be able to do anything with it. 846. But definitely a really, really cool cruise that you could potentially do and see all of the amazing fall foliage and different things, while also being able to go on a beautiful cruise ship, because Jewel of the Seas is another really pretty one. Now, I will say there are interior rooms, ocean view rooms, and suites. Their balconies are completely sold out on that particular cruise. So if you are interested in doing that one, they are definitely have some limited availability. So we need to get you guys booked and kind of get those last minute cabins locked in for you. So,
which you definitely don't need a balcony room either. They're gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but like there's so many places on the top of the cruise ship where you can hang your hands over top of the balcony. Like it's
I think
gorgeous.
It really just depends on what it is that you're wanting to do. If you're not planning on being on the in the room a whole lot, especially if you've got kids and you're like they're going and doing activities and this and that, no, you don't really need a balcony. I would recommend an ocean view because I get claustrophobic. We've done an interior room before when we've cruised, and I feel very claustrophobic. I never wanted to be in that room.
It's very tight.
And it's tight. Ocean view is going to be just as tight, but you're going to be able to look out. So the claustrophobia will kind of be able to be kept at bay a little bit.
Yeah, we were never in the room. When we were on our cruise in 2012.
12 or 13.
Dad, you probably
12.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we were hardly ever in the room. I'm pretty sure there was times that I'd show up to the room at 11 o'clock and would turn around and go to sleep and would be right up at 7 a.m.
Yep.
Back out, hanging out, doing things.
Yep. Which is what you do when you're a kid and given free range of the ship, because honestly, what were you going to get yourself into?
Yeah, where could we have gone?
Yep. So
the worst we could have
that was
done.
one thing that I really liked about the cruise, actually, was like, hey, you want to go and hang out with your friends? Go ahead.
Worst we could have done was jump off the ship.
Yeah.
And that's a long swim back.
Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, absolutely love all of these itineraries. If somebody is interested in booking those, definitely let us know so that we can get them booked for you. They do have 2024 available now too. So if this is something you're like, oh, that sounds really great, but I want a little bit of time to be able to pay for it, or just kind of like, I really want that balcony. Now me, I'm a snob. I'm always going to want the balcony because I want to be able to sit with a drink in my hand and just kind of not have anybody else around me and just watch the sun slowly set. And so that's why I'm always going to be like, I want the balcony.
/ rise.
So
I would love to see a sunrise.
yeah, sunrise would be cool too. So, and so with that being said, I think we've done everything. I want to extend a huge thank you, Christopher, for joining me this evening. He's only been up since 5, so I really appreciate him staying with me and actually staying pretty coherent. I was a little worried at the beginning that this was going to be a total you-know-what show.
I felt like I was falling asleep on the way home, to be honest. Like I drove an hour and a half home, and I felt like I was falling asleep the entire time. So
yep.
I definitely dinner helped a little bit. So usually it puts you in the other way where it makes you want to fall asleep even faster. But
No, I think we did pretty good this evening. So, so thank you so much for doing that. Make sure that you, if you haven't done so already, that you are subscribed or you're following on our YouTube and our Facebook, because we will be live again next Wednesday night. I cannot tell you what we're talking about because I forgot to grab that piece of paper with my social media schedule. I apologize.
Who knows? Maybe I'll be back again.
But Scott will be home, so maybe I'll make Scott and Christopher do it, and I will go take a nap because I probably need one at this point.
You really want to let us
No,
do it? No, that's not a good idea. That's cause for trouble.
So, but yes, and as you can see, there is Scott. Scott, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
So, and he's been having some fun and hanging out with the parentals in Ohio. So he will be glad to be on our live next week, I'm sure, and have his own bed. So on Friday.
I don't know. I'm kind of enjoying having this whole bed to myself.
Well, you can stay there.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
Nick's moved
okay.
into your spot, so.
I'm sure he's been enjoying my side of the bed.
Yes, well, he's also been enjoying being able to have all of his stuffed animals in the bed too. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the thing's completely empty. So
Yeah.
the hamper.
Nick has a big hanging bin that has all kinds of stuffed animals in it, and she's looking a little bare at the moment because they're all on my bed. So. Regardless, I do want to say thank you to everybody for joining us and for talking to us. We really appreciate it. Later, guys. See you in the kitchen, Scott.
Dad, you gotta report to the kitchen.
So, with all that being said, what, Scott?
I said, I know there's snacks in there. I gotta go get some snacks.
You're getting snacks?
Snacks sound
Yeah, they
great.
got candy bars in there.
Ice cream sounds good.
Arm getting tired, Chris. No, that's all right. I'm actually supporting my arm with my elbow and my hand. So.
But with all that being said, thank you so much. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, go ahead and follow us over there on Facebook. We do have another video coming out on Sunday. I'm super excited about. Really curious to see how much Nick was talking on this one because he went shopping, man. So you're definitely going to want to see that one.
And don't forget about TikTok either. We're still working on it.
We are working on it. We're getting there. So as we continue to learn and definitely keep checking out our TikTok because we will be doing more on that. We're also on Threads, and I have to remember to go over and actually post on it because it's not part of the business suite yet. So. But anywho, I digress. We've kept you guys long enough. So as always, are you guys ready for your next Plum Crazy adventure?
Because we're ready to get you there.
Have a good night, everybody.